Hey guys, tonight we're taking a journey, not across vast oceans or through bustling battlefields, but into the quiet, incredibly profound world of the Japanese tea ceremony during feudal times. Imagine stepping through a low, humble gate, leaving the clamor of the world behind you. The air around you becomes still, filled with the scent of damp earth, and perhaps a faint whisper of green tea. This isn't just about sipping a cup of matcha. It's an intricate dance of intention, tradition, and profound aesthetic. You'll quickly discover that the slow art of tea isn't just slow by modern standards. It was designed to be a deliberate, almost meditative counterpoint to the chaotic, often violent, realities of feudal Japan. So, don't expect any drive-through service here. Patience is truly a virtue in this historical adventure. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And if you're listening in, let me know in the comments where you're drifting off from tonight and what time it is for you. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. Story begins not with tea leaves, but with Zen Buddhism. Tea, as a drink, actually arrived in Japan from China centuries before our feudal period, but it was really during the Kamakura period 1185-1333 that it became deeply intertwined with Zen practices. You see, Zen monks traveling to and from China brought back not just scriptures and philosophical concepts, but also tea seeds and the rituals surrounding tea consumption. Imagine a wary monk, having spent months in deep meditation, finding a quiet moment to prepare a bowl of tea. It wasn't just a beverage. It was a tool for staying awake during long hours of meditation, a way to sharpen the mind and calm the spirit. This connection to spiritual discipline is absolutely crucial to understanding the tea ceremony's essence. The legendary monk, Aisai, is often credited with truly popularizing tea in Japan. He traveled to China twice, bringing back tea seeds and detailed knowledge of tea cultivation and preparation. He even wrote a book, the Kisayojoki, or Drinking Tea for Health, extolling tea's virtues. This wasn't some casual endorsement. Aisai is a serious advocate. He presented tea to the shogun Minamoto no Sanetomo, promoting it as a vital health tonic. You can almost picture him, earnestly explaining the benefits to a powerful warrior, trying to convince him that this humble leaf could be more potent than any sword. Historians still argue whether Aisai's primary motivation was the spread of Zen, the promotion of tea, or a combination of both. What is clear, however, is that his efforts laid the groundwork for tea's deep cultural roots in Japan. From these humble, meditative beginnings, tea would gradually evolve from a monastic aid into a profound artistic and social ritual. But that would take a few more centuries, and a few more sips, to unfold. Once tea had made its way to Japan, the next crucial step was figuring out how to cultivate it. You can't have a widespread tea culture without a reliable source of leaves. After all, imagine a handful of precious tea seeds, carefully transported across the vast ocean from China, entrusted to the care of diligent monks. This wasn't like planting a patch of daisies. Tea plants require specific conditions, and early Japanese growers had to learn by trial and error, adapting foreign techniques to their native soil. The earliest tea plantations were typically established on the grounds of Buddhist temples, often in mountainous regions, with good drainage and misty conditions that mimicked tea's native habitat in China. Uji, a region near Kyoto, quickly became, and remains, one of the most famous tea-producing areas in Japan. You can almost picture the monks, with their simple tools, tilling the soil, carefully planting the small tea saplings, and tending to them with the same patience and dedication they applied to their spiritual practices. It was a painstaking process, requiring a deep understanding of the land and the delicate needs of the tea plant. This early cultivation wasn't about mass production. It was about nurturing a precious resource, often for the monastery's own consumption, and for limited ceremonial use. Initially, the tea grown in Japan was primarily used to make dancha, or brick tea, similar to what was popular in China at the time. The leaves would be steamed, pressed into cakes or bricks, and then roasted and pulverized before being whisked into hot water. This sounds a bit more laborious than simply dipping a tea bag, doesn't it? As time went on, and cultivation techniques improved, methods evolved towards powdered green tea, or matcha, which would eventually become the star of the tea ceremony. Historians still argue about the precise moment and reasons why powdered tea gained prominence over brick tea in Japan. Perhaps it was the influence of specific Zen rituals, or simply a refinement of taste. The monks, being the meticulous record keepers and observers they were, began to understand the nuances of tea cultivation, which soils were best, how much shade the plants needed, and the optimal time for harvesting the tender young leaves. This wasn't just farming. It was the birth of an agricultural art form, laying the foundation for centuries of tea excellence. You wouldn't find them using modern pesticides or automated irrigation. It was all manual labor, powered by devotion and a keen eye for nature. So, when you sip a cup of fine Japanese green tea today, remember those early, dedicated monks who, with just a few precious seeds and immense patience, started it all. They truly brewed the beginnings of a cultural revolution, one leaf at a time. In its earliest days in Japan, tea wasn't primarily seen as a delightful social beverage or an artistic pursuit. It was revered as medicine. You might picture monks sipping it in tranquil gardens. But before that, imagine a weary traveler, perhaps suffering from a headache or fatigue, being offered a steaming bowl of tea as a restorative tonic. This was tea's initial, highly practical, and much valued role. The Chinese had long understood tea's various medicinal properties, and this knowledge arrived in Japan alongside the tea leaves themselves. Monks, who often served as healers in their communities, quickly embraced tea as a panacea for a surprisingly wide range of ailments. You see, the medieval world didn't have pharmacies on every corner or readily available pain relievers, so anything that offered relief was prized. Tea was believed to aid digestion, alleviate fatigue, sober up the intoxicated, and even cure certain forms of paralysis. It was essentially the medieval equivalent of a super drink, marketed as a cure-all. Isai, the monk we mentioned earlier, was a particularly vocal advocate for tea's health benefits. His treatise Kisayojoki, which translates to Drinking Tea for Health, systematically outlined these perceived virtues. He wrote about tea's ability to invigorate the heart, expel poison from the body, and prolong life. Imagine reading that today you might swap out your morning coffee for matcha in a heartbeat if you believed it could add years to your life. This wasn't just anecdotal evidence. It was a serious attempt to document and promote tea's therapeutic qualities, based on centuries of Chinese observation and a dash of medieval optimism. This medicinal reputation wasn't confined to circles. Tea soon caught the attention of the ruling elite and the samurai class. They, too, were constantly exposed to various illnesses and the stresses of their often violent lives. The idea that a simple beverage could provide vitality, sharpen the mind for strategic thinking, or even aid recovery from battle wounds made it incredibly appealing. You might envision a powerful shogun, perhaps suffering from a stomach ache, after a particularly rich meal, turning to a monk-prepared bowl of tea for relief, rather than some more experimental medieval remedy. This practical application ensured teas spread beyond the temple gates and into the upper echelons of society. There's a quirky tidbit here. Some historical accounts suggest that tea was even used as an antidote for food poisoning, particularly after consuming certain types of shellfish or other potentially toxic foods. While we know now that tea isn't a universal cure for serious poisoning, the belief in its detoxifying properties further cemented its reputation as a medicinal marvel. Historians still argue about the precise chemical compounds medieval people attributed to tea's healing powers, and whether it was the caffeine, antioxidants, or simply the psychological effect that truly provided relief. Regardless, for centuries, a cup of tea was not just a drink. It was a prescription, a quiet hope for better health in an age without modern medicine. It was the original good for what ails you remedy, quietly brewing its way into the fabric of Japanese society. With tea's reputation established as a medicinal marvel, it was only a matter of time before its role expanded beyond the monastic infirmary. Soon, tea began to feature in more informal tea gatherings, particularly among the rising elite of feudal Japan. You see, these were not yet the highly formalized ceremonies we think of today. They were lively, often opulent social events that showcased wealth and connoisseurship. Imagine stepping into the grand residence of a powerful samurai or a wealthy merchant in Kyoto during the Muromachi period 1336 to 1573. You wouldn't find hushed reverence here. Instead, you'd likely encounter vibrant, sometimes boisterous, gatherings centered around tea. known as tacha, or tea tasting contests. Guests would be presented with multiple bowls of tea and challenged to identify its origin. This was a sophisticated parlor game, a display of refined palate and knowledge. Winners would be showered with lavish prizes, silks, gold, exquisite ceramics. Losers might have to perform a silly dance or sing a song. It sounds a bit like a medieval game show, doesn't it? It certainly wasn't about quiet contemplation. These gatherings were often held in large, luxurious halls, decorated with precious Chinese artworks and ceramics, reflecting the high regard in which Chinese culture was held. The tea utensils themselves became objects of immense value, status symbols coveted by daimyo and shoguns alike. A rare Chinese tea bowl or a particularly fine tea caddy could be worth more than a samurai's entire estate. You might see a lord proudly displaying his collection of tea implements, each piece whispering tales of distant lands and immense wealth. This competitive and ostentatious display of tea-related luxury became a defining feature of these early gatherings. But even amidst the extravagance, the underlying appreciation for tea's qualities remained. It wasn't just about showing off. It was also about sharing a sophisticated experience. The host would still meticulously prepare the tea, even if the atmosphere was less spiritual and more social. The act of preparing and consuming tea, even in this grand setting, still retained an element of mindful engagement. Historians still argue whether these tea-tasting contests were a natural evolution of tea culture or a temporary detour driven by the economic prosperity and newfound power of the samurai class. Regardless, these lively tea gatherings served a crucial purpose. They cemented tea's place in the social fabric of Japan, moving it from a purely medicinal or monastic context into the realm of aristocratic entertainment and cultural exchange. It opened the door for tea to become more than just a drink. It became a vehicle for expressing taste, power, and ultimately, a unique Japanese aesthetic that would soon revolutionize the art of tea itself. So, if you ever wished you could go back in time and join a truly unique party, a feudal Japanese tea-tasting contest might have been right up your alley. Just make sure your palate is sharp. From the opulence of the tea-tasting contests, a counter-movement began to emerge, one that would fundamentally transform the tea ceremony into the profound art form we know today. This shift was largely spearheaded by a monk named Juk, often considered the father of the tea ceremony. He championed an aesthetic known as wabi, a concept utterly central to understanding the quiet beauty of the way of tea. Imagine turning your back on glittering gold and rare Chinese silks, and instead finding beauty in a chipped, rustic clay bowl. That's the essence of wabi. It's an aesthetic rooted in simplicity, naturalness, austerity, and quiet solitude. It finds profundity in the humble, beauty in imperfection, and spiritual depth in the mundane. Juk, a Zen monk himself, rejected the showy displays of wealth that had become associated with tea. He believed that the true spirit of tea lay not in exotic imports or flashy competition, but in a quiet, intimate gathering, fostering a connection between host and guest, and a moment of spiritual clarity. He saw the tea ceremony as an extension of Zen meditation, a path to enlightenment through the appreciation of everyday objects and actions. Juk didn't invent tea, of course, but he was pivotal in articulating and popularizing this new aesthetic. He emphasized the use of simple, often unglazed Japanese ceramics over expensive Chinese wares. He preferred humble, domestically produced bamboo tea scoops and whisks. You can almost picture him gently cradling a rough, unadorned bowl, finding more beauty in its imperfections and natural texture than in any perfectly symmetrical, highly decorated piece. This wasn't about being poor. It was a conscious, philosophical choice, a rejection of superficiality. Historians still argue about the exact philosophical influences that led Juk to articulate wabi so clearly, some pointing to specific Zen texts, others to a broader cultural shift. His ideas began to spread, slowly at first, but with growing influence, particularly among Zen practitioners and a few forward-thinking daimyo, who sought a more refined and less ostentatious form of entertainment. Juk's influence was subtle but profound. He advocated for a smaller tea room, encouraging a sense of intimacy and equality among participants. Stripping away the hierarchy that often permeated feudal society, the focus shifted from the what of the tea, its origin, its rarity, to the how, the manner of preparation, the sincere intention of the host, and the mindful appreciation of the guest. So, When you consider the quiet, almost austere beauty of a traditional Japanese tea ceremony today, you are seeing the direct legacy of Murata Juke and his championing of wabi. He taught that true richness lies not in material possessions, but in the depths of experience, in the quiet appreciation of the moment. It was a revolutionary concept in a world obsessed with power and wealth, a gentle whisper against the loud clang of samurai swords. He truly proved that less can indeed be more, especially when it comes to a perfectly whisked bowl of green tea. While Murata Juke laid the philosophical groundwork for wabi-cha, it was Senno Rikyet who, a century later, truly refined and perfected the tea ceremony into the precise, profound ritual we recognize today. Imagine him not as a rigid taskmaster, but as a meticulous artist, carefully sculpting every gesture, every detail, to create a singular experience. Rikyu was a pivotal figure, a tea master who served powerful daimyo, like Oda Nobunaga and Toyotomi Hideyoshi, yet remained steadfast in his devotion to the humble spirit of tea. Rikyet's genius lay in his ability to translate the abstract principles of Zen and Wabi into concrete, actionable steps. He formalized the sequence of actions, from the way a guest enters the tea hut to the precise angle at which the tea bowl is presented. Every movement became deliberate, graceful, and imbued with meaning. This wasn't about rigid adherence for its own sake. It was about fostering mindfulness. You see, by focusing intensely on each small action, the sound of the water boiling, the whisk moving in the bowl, the feel of the ceramic in your hands, the mind is gently drawn away from worldly distractions and into the present moment. It's a form of active meditation, masquerading as serving tea. He championed the use of raku-ware tea bowls, which were hand-formed and deliberately imperfect, embodying the wabi aesthetic perfectly. Unlike the symmetrical, wheel-thrown ceramics, raku bowls often had an irregular shape, a rough texture, and a unique glaze. Imagine holding one of these bowls. Its warmth, its slight asymmetry, its earthy feel would immediately connect you to the raw, natural world, a stark contrast to the polished elegance often found in aristocratic settings. This was a direct continuation of Juke's philosophy, taken to its artistic zenith. Historians still argue about the true extent of Rikyu's personal hand in creating every raku bowl attributed to him, or if he merely patronized and guided the potters. Rikyu's influence extended beyond the aesthetics to the very atmosphere of the tea gathering. He emphasized the concepts of ichigo ichi, one time, one meeting, reminding both host and guest that each tea gathering is a unique, unrepeatable moment to be cherished. This wasn't just a polite suggestion. It was a profound, philosophical statement, especially in the turbulent feudal era, where life could be fleeting. He also stressed the importance of wakai, seiyaku, harmony, respect, purity, and tranquility, as the four core principles guiding the tea ceremony. You can feel the quiet power of these words echoing through the tea room, guiding every interaction. Despite his humble aesthetic, Rikyu wielded immense influence as a cultural advisor to the most powerful men in Japan. His life, however, ended tragically by forced suicide at the command of Toyotomi Hideyoshi, for reasons still debated by historians, perhaps political disagreement, perhaps a perceived insult to Hideyoshi's taste. His death only cemented his legacy, making him an almost legendary figure, the ultimate embodiment of the way of tea. So, as you relax, contemplate the man who took a simple act and transformed it into a profound path to enlightenment, proving that even a powerful warlord could be humbled by the quiet beauty of a whisked bowl of tea. Central to the intimate experience of the tea ceremony is the chashitsu, or tea room. You might imagine a grand, opulent chamber, but in fact, the essence of the ideal tea room, as envisioned by Senno Rikya, was its deliberate humility and simplicity. This wasn't just an architectural choice, it was a philosophical statement, designed to strip away worldly distractions and foster a sense of equality and focused presence. Imagine approaching a small, unassuming structure in a quiet garden. The entrance isn't a grand door, but often a low, small opening called a nijiriguchi, or crawling-in entrance. You literally have to bend down and humble yourself to enter. This serves multiple purposes. It forces you to leave any swords or symbols of status outside, symbolizing that all are equal within the tea room, regardless of their social standing in the turbulent feudal world. It also makes you conscious of your body, forcing you to slow down and enter with mindfulness. It's a very clever bit of architectural psychology, isn't it? Once inside, you'd find a space that might surprise you with its sparseness. The typical tea room is small, often only Verandahof tatami mats in size, which is roughly 2.7 meters by 2.7 meters. The walls would be plain, made of natural clay or paper, and the light would be soft, diffused through shoshi paper screens. There would be no elaborate decorations, no gilded screens. The only focal points would be the tokonoma alcove, where a scroll of calligraphy or a simple flower arrangement ikebana might be displayed, and the hearth or brazier where the water boils. Every element is carefully chosen for its natural beauty and understated elegance, reflecting the wabi aesthetic. This deliberate lack of clutter and grandeur is crucial. It minimizes distractions, allowing you to focus completely on the ritual, the host, and the tea itself. The sounds you hear, the gentle bubbling of water, the soft scrape of the tea scoop, the delicate whisking of the matcha become amplified, drawing you deeper into the present moment. Historians still argue about the exact historical evolution of the nijiriguchi, with some theories suggesting it was also a practical security measure in a time of instability. Regardless of its origin, its spiritual symbolism became paramount. The tea room is more than just a room. It's a sanctuary, a small universe intentionally created to foster harmony, respect, purity, and tranquility. It's a space where a powerful daimyo and a humble tea master could meet as equals, sharing a moment of quiet communion. It's a place where time seems to slow down, allowing you to shed the anxieties of the outside world and simply be. So, as you drift off, visualize this quiet, perfectly imperfect space, where every surface, every shadow, every sound is part of an intentional design for profound stillness. It truly makes you reconsider what makes a space luxurious, doesn't it? Perhaps it's not about what's added, but what's thoughtfully taken away. Within the meticulously designed space of the chashitsu, every object plays a role, and the tea utensils, or dogu, are not merely tools. They are revered pieces of art, chosen with deep intention and handled with utmost care. You might think of them as simple kitchen implements, but in the world of the tea ceremony, each whisk, bowl, and scoop possesses its own quiet dignity and story. Imagine the host carefully bringing in the dogu. There's the chowan, the tea bowl itself. As we discussed, Rikyu often favored raku, where hand-formed, imperfect, earthy bowls that embodied the wabi aesthetic. Each showan is unique, with its own character, inviting a quiet contemplation of its form, texture, and color. You hold it with both hands, feeling its warmth and weight, appreciating the subtle variations in its glaze. This is no mug, it's a vessel for profound connection. Then there's the chasen, the bamboo whisk. This delicate tool, crafted from a single piece of bamboo, is essential for frothing the moth. Its many fine tines are incredibly fragile, and watching the host skillfully whisk the tea, creating a smooth, vibrant green foam, is a mesmerizing part of the ceremony. It requires precision and a gentle touch, transforming the powdered tea into a drink. You won't find a blunt metal spoon here. Only the delicate, springy bamboo will do. The shaku, or tea scoop, is also made of bamboo, often naturally curved and shaped by the master's hand. It's used to transfer the precise amount of matcha powder from the chair tea caddy into the chowan. The chair itself might be a small, exquisite ceramic jar, sometimes with an ivory lid, chosen for its beauty and the way it complements the other utensils. Each scoop is measured with quiet reverence, a precise movement that speaks volumes about the host's dedication. Even the kama iron kettle and the furo brazier, if no hearth is built in, are significant. The sound of the water boiling in the iron kettle, known as matsukaze or wind in the pines, is considered a crucial element, a natural soundscape that enhances the tranquility of the moment. You might unconsciously relax, listening to the gentle hum and crackle, a soothing presence in the quiet room. Historians still argue about the exact origins of some specific dogu designs and whether they were influenced more by practical function or symbolic meaning. From the large kettle to the smallest silk cloth fukusa used for purifying the tools, is handled with meticulous care, almost as if it were alive. The movements are slow, deliberate, and graceful, a silent ballet that transforms simple objects into instruments of meditation. It's a powerful reminder that true beauty and meaning can be found in the everyday, in the things we touch and use, if only we approach them with mindfulness and respect. So, as you drift off, imagine these humble yet beautiful tools, each one playing its part in a centuries-old dance, inviting you to appreciate the artistry in every detail. Before the first sip of tea, the guest's journey to the tea room is a carefully orchestrated sequence of steps, each designed to shed the outside world and prepare the mind for the quiet profundity of the ceremony. You don't just wander in, you are guided, step by deliberate step, into a state of mindful anticipation. Imagine, you are the guest. Your arrival at the tea master's residence, or at the monastery, begins a subtle transition. You might first be led to a small waiting room, the machiya, where you can compose yourself and perhaps share a moment of quiet anticipation with other guests. Here, you would remove your outer garments and any swords, a crucial step for a samurai, symbolizing the leaving behind of status and aggression. This immediate act of disarming and disrobing begins the psychological preparation for entering a space where all are equal. Next, you would proceed along a garden path, the roji, or dewy path. This isn't a direct route. It's often winding, with stepping stones and carefully placed moss or rocks. The path itself is designed to symbolize a passage from the mundane world to a purer, more spiritual realm. You walk slowly, listening to the crunch of gravel underfoot, the gentle trickle of water, the rustle of leaves. The sounds of the outside world fade, replaced by the tranquil whispers of nature. You might even find yourself pausing to admire a dewdrop on a leaf, or the subtle curve of a branch, precisely the kind of small, quiet beauty the wabi aesthetic encourages you to notice. Before entering the chashitsu itself, you would pause at a stone basin, the sukaba. Here, you perform a ritualistic cleansing. You scoop water with a bamboo, ladle hishaku, and rinse your hands and mouth. This act of purification is not just physical, it's symbolic, washing away the dust and impurities of the secular world, preparing your spirit to enter the sacred space of the tea room. It's a very simple action, but when performed with full awareness, it becomes a powerful cleansing ritual. Historians still argue about the exact origins of the sukubai and whether its form evolved from practical necessity or purely spiritual symbolism. Finally, you approach the nijiraguchi, the low crawling-in entrance we discussed. You bend low, perhaps even crawling on your hands and knees, leaving behind any sense of pride or social standing. This act of humility is the last step before crossing the threshold into the tea room. It's a physical embodiment of the tea ceremony's core principles: humility, equality, and reverence. So, as you prepare for sleep, imagine this slow, deliberate procession. Each step a gentle invitation to release the day's burdens and enter a space of profound stillness. This entire journey is a graceful preparation, ensuring that by the time you sit down, your mind is as clear and present as the tea about to be served. At the heart of the Japanese tea ceremony lies a set of profound philosophical underpinnings, collectively known as Chado, or the way of tea. This isn't just a series of steps, it's a spiritual path, an embodiment of Zen principles in everyday life. You're not simply observing a ritual, you're participating in a living philosophy. The most widely known principles of Chado were articulated by Sen no Rikyowa, Kai, Seiyaku. These four characters represent harmony, respect, purity, and tranquility. Let's break them down, because they truly are the soul of the ceremony. First, Wa, her harmony. This speaks to harmony in every aspect. Harmony between the host and guests, between the utensils, between the tea room and its natural surroundings, and even harmony with this season. Imagine the host selecting a particular flower for the tokonoma alcove, choosing it specifically because it's in season, or a tea bowl whose earthy tones perfectly complement the simple beauty of the room. It's about creating a unified, balanced experience where nothing feels out of place or jarring. You are invited to feel this pervasive sense of balance, allowing your own inner world to come into alignment. Next, Kai, Zink, respect. This is about showing genuine respect for the host, for the guests, for the utensils, and for the tea itself. Every movement, every gesture, is imbued with a deep sense of reverence. When the host carefully cleans the tea bowl, or the guest carefully inspects it, it's an act of profound respect for the object and the labor that created it. It also extends to respecting yourself and your own moment of presence within the ceremony. You feel seen, acknowledged, and honored within this carefully crafted space. Historians still argue about the precise social implications of respect. in feudal Japan and how the tea ceremony helped to both reinforce and subtly transcend existing class structures. Then, say, seem, purity. This refers to both physical and spiritual purity. As you rinse your hands and mouth before entering the tea room, you are physically cleansing yourself, but more importantly, it's about purifying your heart and mind of worldly thoughts and desires. It's about being truly present, without prejudice or expectation, allowing your spirit to be clear and unburdened. Imagine shedding all the mental clutter of your day, leaving it outside the tea room door, entering with a pristine mind. Finally, yakuzi, tranquility. This is the ultimate goal, the quiet serenity that arises when harmony, respect, and purity are achieved. It's the peacefulness that permeates the tea room, the stillness that allows for deep contemplation and connection. It's not an absence of sound, but an absence of inner turmoil, a profound sense of calm that settles over you as the ceremony unfolds. You are invited to sink into this stillness, letting the quiet rhythm of the tea ceremony guide you to a place of inner peace. These principles are not just abstract ideas, they are lived through every precise movement, every shared glance, every sip of tea. The way of tea is a microcosm of a harmonious life, a gentle reminder that even in a turbulent world, profound tranquility can be found by embracing simplicity, mindfulness, and respect. It truly makes you reconsider what slow living really means, doesn't it? It's not just about taking your time, it's about investing profound meaning into every single moment. With the philosophical groundwork laid and the sacred space established, we arrive at the very heart of the ceremony, preparing the matcha. This isn't just mixing powder with water, it's a meditative dance of precise movements, each one imbued with centuries of tradition and intention. You are about to witness and participate in an act of profound mindfulness. Imagine the host, now settled before you, beginning the intricate movements. The first step involves purifying the utensils. The chowan tea bowl, chasen whisk, and chashaku scoop are all purified with a silk cloth called a fukusa, often a vibrant color like deep purple or orange. These aren't harsh, scrubbing motions. They are gentle, deliberate wipes, almost caresses, acknowledging the sacredness of each tool. You can practically hear the soft rustle of the silk against the ceramic, a quiet sound that signals the beginning of the central act. This meticulous cleaning isn't just about hygiene. It's about purifying the objects for their sacred purpose and focusing the mind of both host and guest. Next, the host takes the chishaku and, with incredible precision, scoops the vibrant green matcha powder from the chair tea caddy into the warmed Typically, 2 or 3 scoops are used for yusucha, the thin tea, which is the most common form served. Each scoop is careful, a testament to the respect for the precious tea. The host then adds a small amount of hot water from the kama kettle, carefully poured to avoid disturbing the powder. The water's temperature is crucial, usually around 70 to 80 degrees Celsius, 158 to 176 Fahrenheit, for yusucha, as too hot water can burn the delicate tea. You might notice the faint steam rising, carrying a subtle, earthy aroma. Now comes the iconic moment. The whisking. The host grasps the chasen firmly and begins to whisk the mixture in a rapid W or M motion. The goal is to fully dissolve the matcha and create a beautiful, frothy layer of foam on top, without any visible lumps. This isn't a gentle stir. It's an energetic, yet controlled, action. The rhythmic swish-swish of the bamboo whisk against the ceramic bowl creates a unique sound, almost like a gentle, rhythmic rainfall, which adds to the tranquil atmosphere. This whisking requires years of practice to master, ensuring the tea is perfectly aerated and smooth. It's truly a testament to dexterity and presence. There's a quirky tidbit here. Some tea masters believe that the quality of the foam, particularly the presence of tiny, jewel-like bubbles, is a direct reflection of the host's heart and spirit. A perfectly whisked bowl is seen as an offering of sincere effort and care. Historians still argue about the precise evolution of whisking techniques, and whether early methods were as focused on achieving a perfect foam as later iterations. Regardless, the act of whisking is a profound expression of the way of tea, transforming humble powder and water into a vibrant, meditative beverage. You watch, captivated, as the green liquid magically transforms, a testament to focused effort. As the vibrant green matcha is being prepared, your attention might subtly shift to another delicate art form intrinsic to the ceremony, the serving of the sweets. These aren't just any desserts, they are wagashi, traditional Japanese confections, meticulously crafted to be miniature works of art, designed to delight the eye and the palate, and to perfectly complement the bitter taste of the tea. Imagine a small, exquisite plate presented to you before the tea bowl arrives. On it rests a single wagashi, perhaps shaped like a seasonal flower, a budding leaf, or even a tiny, abstract landscape. These sweets are often made from ingredients like glutinous rice flour, bean paste, anko, and sugar, delicately colored with natural dyes. They are rarely overly sweet, their subtle flavors designed to prepare your palate for the robust bitterness of the matcha that follows. You carefully pick it up, admiring its intricate detail, a tiny edible sculpture. This isn't a quick bite. It's an appreciation of craftsmanship, a moment of visual and gustatory pleasure. The timing of the sweets is crucial. They are served before the tea, not during or after. This isn't just a quirky custom. It serves a very practical purpose. The gentle sweetness of the wagashi acts as a delicious buffer, preparing your mouth for the intense, sometimes grassy, bitterness of the powdered green tea. It cleanses the palate and allows the complex flavors of the matcha to truly shine through, rather than being overwhelmed. Think of it as a culinary primer, getting your taste buds ready for the main event. Wagashi are deeply seasonal. The shape, color, and even the ingredients of the sweet will change with the time of year, reflecting the beauty of nature. In spring, you might find wagashi shaped like cherry blossoms or young green leaves. In autumn, they might evoke fallen maple leaves or chestnuts. This connection to the seasons reinforces the tea ceremony's harmony with the natural world, a concept we touched on earlier with WA. It's a subtle nod to the transient beauty of life, reminding you to appreciate each fleeting moment, even in an edible form. Historians still argue about the exact origins of the deep connection between wagashi and the tea ceremony, and whether specific confectionery styles evolved solely for this purpose or were adapted from existing culinary traditions. There's a delightful quirk to wagashi. Many have poetic names that evoke natural imagery or classical literature, adding another layer of depth to their appreciation. A sweet might be named Dewdrops on a Leaf or Moonlit Night, inviting you to ponder its meaning as you savor its delicate flavor. So, as you prepare for sleep, envision these tiny, perfect, edible masterpieces, each one a miniature celebration of beauty, seasonality, and refined taste, gently ushering your senses towards the quiet contemplation of the tea itself. They truly are a testament to the fact that even sweetness can be a profound art. As the last sips of matcha are savored, the tea ceremony doesn't abruptly end. Instead, it transitions into a final, equally mindful phase, the ritualistic cleaning of the utensils and the polite farewell. You see, the departure is as important as the arrival, maintaining the sacred atmosphere right to the very end. Imagine the host, having collected your empty tea bowl, beginning the careful process of cleaning. The bowl is gently rinsed with hot water, then wiped clean and dry with a fresh shaken tea cloth, a pristine piece of linen. Each motion is deliberate, respectful, and silent. There's no rush to put things away. Instead, the cleaning itself becomes a continuation of the meditative practice. The host then carefully wipes the bamboo chasen whisk and chashaku scoop, often rinsing the whisk in hot water and allowing it to dry, ensuring its longevity. You might observe how every tool is returned to its designated place with exquisite precision, almost like putting precious jewels back into their display cases. This cleaning process isn't just about tidiness, it's a symbolic act of concluding the shared experience. By carefully attending to each utensil, the host acknowledges their contribution to the ceremony and prepares them for the next gathering. It's a quiet way of expressing gratitude to the tools themselves. Sometimes, if a guest expresses particular admiration for a certain piece, like the tea caddy chair or the tea scoop chashaku, the host might offer it for closer inspection. You would then hold it with both hands, turning it slowly, admiring its craftsmanship, before returning it with a respectful bow. This small interaction deepens the connection between host and guest, even in silence. Historians still argue about the exact historical evolution of the post-ceremony utensil inspection, and whether it was primarily for aesthetic appreciation or also served to verify the authenticity of rare pieces. Once all the utensils are cleaned and put away, a quiet moment of reflection passes. The host and guest exchange final, silent bows, acknowledging the shared experience and expressing gratitude. This isn't a rushed goodbye. It's a profound, unhurried parting, leaving both parties with a sense of calm and completeness. You feel the weight of the moment, the quiet significance of what has just transpired. Then you, as the guest, would slowly rise and retrace your steps. You'd move back along the roji, the dewy path, which now feels different. The world outside seems a little clearer, a little calmer, perhaps a little more beautiful. Having just experienced a moment of perfect harmony, you might notice the subtle sounds of the garden more keenly, the rustle of leaves, the distant call of a bird. The act of leaving is as mindful as the act of arriving, gently re-entering the bustling world with a renewed sense of inner peace. It's a testament to the idea that a truly well-conducted experience leaves a lingering sense of calm, long after it has concluded. You truly carry a piece of the tranquility with you as you prepare for slumber. In the often violent landscape of feudal Japan, it might seem counterintuitive that the precise, peaceful ritual of the tea ceremony would become so deeply intertwined with the lives of samurai. Yet, the connection between these disciplined warriors and the way of tea is one of the most fascinating aspects of its history. You're about to discover why the sword and the tea whisk shared an unlikely, yet profound, kinship. Imagine a powerful samurai, fresh from the battlefield, or perhaps facing a looming conflict. His life is one of constant tension, loyalty, and the ever-present shadow of death. Where would such a man find solace, focus, or a moment of inner calm? Surprisingly, for many, it was in the tranquil chashitsu. The tea ceremony offered a vital escape, a space where the rigid hierarchy and brutal realities of warfare could be momentarily set aside. In the tea room, a samurai, even a mighty daimyo, would humble himself to enter the low nijiriguchi, leaving his katana outside, signifying that within those walls, all were equal. This act of shedding status and weapons was deeply symbolic and psychologically powerful. The discipline required for the tea ceremony resonated strongly with the samurai's own rigorous training, the precise, controlled movements, the intense focus on the present moment, the mastery of intricate details. These were all skills cultivated by both the tea master and the warrior. A perfectly executed tea ceremony, with its flawless flow and economy of motion, mirrored the ideal of a perfectly executed sword strike. Both demanded unwavering concentration and a calm, clear mind. You can almost picture a samurai, whose hands were used to wielding a heavy sword, now delicately manipulating a bamboo whisk with equal, if not greater, precision. Tea also played a practical role. As we discussed earlier, it was valued for the ability to promote alertness and concentration. Vital qualities for warriors who needed to remain vigilant and make split-second decisions. Before a battle or during long strategic meetings, a bowl of strong tea could sharpen the mind and steady the nerves. It was a natural, quiet stimulant in a world that often lacked them. Perhaps the most significant connection lay in the shared philosophy of Zen Buddhism. Many samurai were ardent Zen practitioners, finding its teachings on impermanence, self-discipline, and finding enlightenment in everyday actions deeply relevant to their own code. Bushido, the wabi aesthetic of the tea ceremony, with its appreciation for simplicity and transience, echoed the Zen ideal of accepting life's fleeting nature. Historians still argue about the precise degree to which Zen directly influenced the samurai code, and how tea facilitated this philosophical exchange. However, the influence is undeniable. The tragic fate of Sen no Rikcha, who served powerful warlords like Oda Nobunaga and Toyotomi Hideyoshi, further cemented this link. Rikya was not just a tea master, he was a trusted advisor, a confidant. His ability to create a space of pure tranquility, and his unwavering commitment to the wabi ideals, commanded immense respect even from the most ruthless of leaders. You could say he was the original mindfulness coach to the powerful, providing a crucial counterbalance to their otherwise turbulent lives. So, as you drift off to sleep, contemplate the warrior who found profound peace, not on the battlefield, but in the quiet, humble ritual of a shared bowl of tea. It truly makes you realize that strength can be found in stillness, and courage in contemplation. As our gentle journey through the Japanese tea ceremony concludes, let's reflect on its enduring calmness and profound legacy. You see, the way of tea isn't just a historical curiosity. Its quiet power continues to resonate today, offering a timeless sanctuary of mindfulness in our increasingly fast-paced world. Imagine stepping from the clamor of modern life into a tranquil tea room today. The same principles of wakaise, yaku harmony, respect, purity, and tranquility that guided Zen no Rikyu centuries ago still hold true. The slow, deliberate movements, the focus on the present moment, the appreciation of simple beauty, these are all practices that are profoundly relevant for anyone seeking a respite from stress and distraction. The tea ceremony offers a structured path to mindfulness, a gentle reminder to slow down, breathe, and simply be. You don't need to be a Zen monk or a samurai to appreciate the calming effect of watching water boil and tea froth, or to feel the warmth of a carefully crafted bowl in your hands. The legacy of the tea ceremony extends far beyond the specific ritual itself. It profoundly influenced Japanese aesthetics, art, architecture, and even garden design. The wabi aesthetic, born in the tea room, seeped into almost every aspect of Japanese culture, teaching generations to find beauty in imperfection, transience, and natural simplicity. The unassuming beauty of a ceramic vase, the quiet elegance of a traditional garden, the thoughtful arrangement of flowers, many of these sensibilities trace their roots back to the tea ceremony. It's a testament to how a single practice can shape an entire cultural understanding of beauty. Even the humble tools of the tea ceremony have become icons of artistry. The raku bowls, the bamboo whisks, the silk cloths, each is a testament to meticulous craftsmanship and a deep connection to natural materials. This respect for tools and materials, for the journey from raw material to finished object, is another quiet lesson embedded within the tea ceremony's legacy. There's a quirky tidbit here. Some contemporary tea masters continue the tradition of spontaneously naming their new tea scoops, giving them poetic names inspired by nature or their current feelings, a continuation of the same mindful playfulness that has always existed. Historians still argue about the precise degree to which modern mindfulness movements directly draw from Zen and tea ceremony practices, or if they are parallel developments. But the conceptual similarities are striking. Ultimately, the enduring appeal of the tea ceremony lies in its offer of a sacred, unhurried space. It's a powerful antidote to modern life, a quiet invitation to reconnect with ourselves, with others, and with the simple beauty of the moment. It teaches us that profound experiences don't require grandeur or noise, but rather quiet presence, and a willingness to appreciate the delicate dance of intention and tradition. You'll find that the gentle resonance of its ancient principles can quietly soothe your spirit, inviting you into a state of deep, calm rest. As your eyelids grow heavy and the soft, ambient sounds of the night envelop you, allow the gentle rhythm of the tea ceremony to lull you. Imagine the quiet rustle of silk, the soft gurgle of the kettle, the gentle whisking of the tea. Feel the warmth of a smooth, imperfect bowl in your hands. Let the tranquility of the humble tea room settle over you, pushing away any lingering thoughts or worries. All is calm, all is still. There is only the breath, the quiet presence, and the lingering sense of peace from a journey. Drift now into that stillness, letting the soft whisper of history guide you deeper into a restful, dream-filled sleep. Sweet dreams.